Hey everyone, welcome to this video tutorial on how to create a lap tracker. This lap tracker is going to tell you what lap you're currently on, as well as it's going to automatically update itself every time you cross the starting line. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, I've placed down 3 lamps on my level. These aren't needed. I'm just doing that because the checkpoints we're going to use are going to be invisible. So it's going to help me kind of like know where they're at. But if you don't want to put them down, or if you don't want to put anything down, perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, to start, find the folder where your vehicle is in and also know what your vehicle is called. So mine's Subaru Impreza underscore BP. I'm going to double click on that and I'm going to create 2 variables. The first variable is going to be my checkpoints. So it's going to be current underscore checkpoint. And this is just going to tell me what checkpoint I'm at. It needs to be an integer. And I'm going to press compile. And we're going to start our current checkpoint at, let's go ahead and just say it is 0. Yeah, let's just say it's 0. Then we also need another variable called our current underscore lap. This is going to tell us what lap we're on. It also needs to be an integer. So I'm going to hit compile and we're going to start this at 0 as well. And yeah, once we cross the starting line, it'll auto update to 1. Yep. So that looks pretty good. So that's 0 and that's 0. Cool. I'm going to close out of this. In the same folder where your cars are at, we're going to create 3 checkpoint blueprints. So right click over here, go to blueprint class, actor, and this is going to be checkpoint 1 or CP1. And then I'll just kind of click away and right click another one. And this is going to be CP2 for checkpoint 2. And then you can pretty much figure out what the last one's going to be. CP3 for checkpoint 3. So in order for us to complete a lap, we need to hit all 3 of these checkpoints in the correct order. Now, if I just hit checkpoint 1 and I try to go back or something, like reverse on my track, it won't let me. It's checking for all 3 of these conditions before it actually like triggers. So that's why we have 3 of them. You could probably be more precise also if you had more than 3. But anyway, I double clicked on CP1 and it took me to my viewport. If you're not in the viewport, just click on that. And we're going to add a component that is going to be a box collision. And this box is dependent on your track. So let me just select the box. So if you have a very like long track or something, you want to have a checkpoint that can encompass whatever your vehicle would be driving into so that you don't miss the checkpoint, because if you miss the checkpoint, then your lap tracker won't be accurate. Okay, so I don't exactly know the direct size of my track, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. You can always go back and adjust it. Okay, and with the box selected, go down over to your collision options and do an on component begin overlap. We're going to add one of these, and then I'm going to jump over to the event graph. And we've kind of seen this before and we've dealt with it. So let's go ahead and drag off the first node. We need to cast it to our vehicle. So my vehicle is my Subaru. So cast to Subaru Impreza underscore BP for blueprint. And I'm going to connect the actor to the object because that is what's colliding with the box. So when we collide with the box, we want to check what checkpoint we're currently at. So let's go ahead and get our current checkpoint. And we're going to create a condition. So drag off that and create a branch. And let's go ahead and do an equal search off of our current checkpoint. And you could have context sensitive on. We're looking for equal integer. And we are checking if the current checkpoint is equal to 0, which currently it is because we haven't actually changed it to anything. So if it is 0, what do we want to do? Well, we want to add to our checkpoint. So if that's true, let's go ahead and set our checkpoint. Let's see if I could go ahead and grab it from here. Set current checkpoint. Perfect. Right there. Turn off context sensitive. And we want to add 1 to it. So I'm going to drag off that checkpoint here and do a plus integer. And we're going to add 1 and connect it to there. Okay, so don't worry about like connecting it past this equal sign thing, because it's going to check the condition, and if it's true, then it's going to go back, grab this, and then add 1 to it, and then set the current checkpoint. So now the current checkpoint is 1, but we also want to add 1 to our lap tracker. So starting all the way back at our cast to Subaru Impreza, I'm going to drag a node off of this, and we're going to get our current lap. And then we're going to add 1 to that. So that's going to be plus integer. And then we got to set our current lap. So I'm going to drag off the last set we did. We're going to do set current lap. And I'm going to connect that to that. Okay, so go ahead and kind of just study this and see if it makes sense to you. All we're doing is checking what checkpoint we're at, and if we're on the right one, we add 1 to our current lap. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and compile this, and it gave me an error just because like I didn't specify targets for these two things, so it's asking me like what am I updating it for, and I'm updating it for my Subaru, so I got to drag over those blue nodes off that, connect those two, compile that, and now that's running. Okay, now that that's done, let's close out of it, and we're going to need to create a widget so we can actually see what laps we're on. So we could use one of our other widgets, but I'm just going to create an additional widget. There's really no limit to the amount of widgets you can have. Just kind of be aware of the space your screen is taking so that they don't overlap. So I'm going to right click on the gray area where my car's at, user interface, and widget blueprint. And we're just going to call this laps. Okay. And I'm going to double click on laps. There's our window. And I'm going to grab a text box, drop it in there, zoom in, and let's go ahead and just write lap colon, semicolon, colon, not semicolon, and the current lap, let's just say 0, because we're going to start at 0, but as soon as we cross that starting line, it's going to automatically change to 1. And of course you can modify the text and everything. I'm going to change the font size to like 50. But of course, if that's too plain, go ahead, feel free to adjust all this. This is just kind of to demo it. And I'm going to move this over to the center of the screen. So that, like that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and bind that text. So I'm going to right click, or not right click, click on bind, where we put the text and create a binding. And here's our text. And we did this for the miles per hour, so it's very similar. Let's cast to our Subaru, or to our vehicle blueprint. The object being the vehicle that we are controlling. So get player pawn. Because you might not actually be controlling a character. And then we are going to get our current lap, not checkpoint. The checkpoints are invisible. We don't actually see those. And then whatever our current lap is, we want to turn it to text. So I guess we'll do a toText integer. So now it's in text. And then we're going to format that text. So say format text. We're going to get one of these nice little format boxes. And let me break this for a second. Right click break. And the format we're looking for is lap colon, and then squiggly bracket, and then let's just type in lap, and then close squiggly bracket and kind of click away. So we're going to take that, connect it into lap, and then connect it into here. Okay, so keep the first part, and then whatever's in the squiggly gets erased and overridden. So it should look something like that. Let's compile it, see if it works. Looks like it does. So I'm going to close out of this, and I think we're ready to put our first checkpoint into the game. So I'm going to drop that right there, kind of where this lamp is, and I'm going to run it. But when I do, just note that it's not going to show up because we haven't added it to our viewport yet. So let's go over to our viewport, click on blueprints, open level blueprint, and this is currently what we have, or what you may or may not have. So we create our speedometer widget, which we've already done. Unless you don't have it, then don't worry about it. And then I'm going to drag off that one, and I'm going to create another widget. This widget's going to be grabbing my laps, and just make sure you connect the return value also to the viewport. Okay, so depending on what widgets you have or what it's going to create, I'm going to compile that, close out of here, and now hit play. So you can see the laps are on the top there, and when I drive into there, boom, it says lap 1, and if I run back into it again, it's not going to automatically update because I have to kind of now start clearing those checkpoints. Okay, so that's actually going to be in the next video because this one's running a little long, and I will see you then for wrapping this up. Peace.